I don't know how many other ways I can spin it. I don't know how many other ways I can say it. I think San Diego State is a must-have for the Pac-12. And we told you yesterday that J.D. Wicker, the athletic director at San Diego State, talked to Seth Davis at The Athletic, said one way or the other, it's going to happen. We're going to the Big 12 or the Pac-12. We're excited for the opportunity. We've done a lot of work to prepare for that. So, I'm just guessing that work has not included looping in the Mountain West Conference because sources close to the conference tell us that San Diego State has not informed the Mountain West, in fact, that they are leaving for the Big 12 or the Pac-12. In fact, they have not spoken about it at all. And I just don't understand this from J.D. Wicker. You're in such a good spot, J.D. And I know, look, you and I don't know each other. We've never met. And I get it, dude. You're trying to be politically correct and do your thing. This is a mistake. If you are not on a regular basis at San Diego State liaisoning with the Mountain West Conference, Commissioner Navarez, her staff, that's a huge mistake. If you're putting out, hit pieces like you did with Seth Davis at The Athletic, and you are not informing the Mountain West, that's a mistake. And by all accounts, that's the way J.D. Wicker at San Diego State has chosen to go about this. And again, I don't know, Jake, maybe I'm making too much out of it, but it makes San Diego State seem desperate.
Yeah, I think it makes them seem desperate, and I think it makes it seem like they're scheming and that they're playing games. And I think that's kind of the worst thing you could be doing right now based on the position that you're in, because you know that even on a certain level, we can have a conversation if you guys want about, their actual value, but I don't think anybody denies that San Diego State is a valuable proposition and property and program inside of the Big 12, Pac-12 expansion conversation. I just don't think that's in doubt anymore. And I think what's really unfortunate is that this athletic director, J.D. Wicker, is choosing to go about it in a way that just wastes the opportunity for him. We had this whole thing yesterday, as some of you are referencing, about how we had this rant and this conversation, this debate. And the reason that I think for a college football fan that it would be frustrating the way Wicker's chosen to handle this is because if you're going to do media, at least have kind of a strategy with it. To me, it kind of feels like they're just kind of doing one interview just to kind of push a narrative, and then they're just kind of going radio silence. Whereas I've always viewed the media, certainly for ADs and presidents, as an opportunity. You should be using the media to really draw a line in the sand and show unity through everybody doing interviews. That's basically what the Pac-12 tried to do. They didn't achieve it, but that's what they tried to do, I feel like. And so now it's just this situation with San Diego State where it's a mess. And ultimately, it makes what was once a program that was quiet and valuable, and the talking points were new facilities and Snapdragon and all this cool stuff. You go from that to now scheming and game playing and not really handling it the right way. So to me, I just feel like that's the loss for San Diego State. And I think, if I'm Brett Yormark, I'm constantly watching the landscape, right? We always hear Brett talk about, I'm evaluating and I'm keeping my eye out and I'm looking for good opportunities. Tell me he's not looking at this San Diego State situation saying, man, if we were to bring them into the conference, man, I really got to watch out for this guy because I know the way he's going to handle things. And that's, I think, what not a lot of people are talking about. It sends a bad message when you handle the media this way.
Yeah, and it is my opinion that I think San Diego State got a little desperate. That's what it feels like to me. And I just, which I don't understand, because I don't even know that it's arguable that San Diego State is the hottest free agent commodity. And you just have to wait now. You just have to wait your turn. So
Facts.
What is the point of getting out, over your skis here, or, forgetting to communicate, or like this quote that he gave to Seth Davis at The Athletic just makes no sense. And then to no comment, a bunch of people reached out to me and said, the San Diego State's not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I do not. So This just goes further and further into the dysfunction of the Pac-12. Because, by the way, the other side of this is, if you are the Pac-12, why on earth are you letting San Diego State twist in the wind? I would assume that you would say to San Diego State, and again, we've reported on this show that multiple sources have told us that the Pac-12 has all but said, hey, you guys are in, we just need some time here. So let's assume that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Why is J.D. Wicker talking to Seth Davis? Why are you giving that quote? That makes no sense. Okay, so let's assume that they haven't said that to San Diego State. If you're J.D. Wicker, why are you talking to Seth Davis? Well, because you're scared now. You're worried.
Mm-hmm.
You are, in my opinion, showing your weakness, showing your insecurities.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like, in my opinion. And I think when you look at J.D. Wicker and you look at the position that San Diego State's in, I'm not surprised at all that they're doing that. That to me is the biggest unknown here. I have no reason to believe that the San Diego State has heard something new from the Pac-12.
Yeah, and I just think that if you're San Diego State, and I think also if you're any team that, we had this conversation yesterday about Tulane as well. Like, if you're the Tulanes or the San Diego States or you're any school that is valuable in expansion, you're a school that a P5 wants to add to their conference, you don't have incentive to talk to the media until you have a reason to. That's where, yesterday and today, and still, I still feel like, man, I look around and I don't hear, I don't hear, Oregon or Washington or Utah going to the media and talking about whatever anymore. Y'all remember, right? They all went through their media sessions and they all talked and all proved their points. And then it's just been radio silence. And then what's happened? San Diego State started talking. So I don't know. That's why I think this is such a fascinating thing. And I see the comments about, oh, well, we just got to move on from San Diego State. And it's like, dude, you don't just simply
there's no moving on
from San Diego State. And it's not because San Diego State is some gem or they're so amazing. But the reality of the situation is they're in a prime position to jump into P5 land. And that's what I think is just such a crime, or how that's why they've fallen so short, because it was like, you should have just said nothing. Just don't talk. Just literally don't talk. And now it's like, okay, we did one interview, which I kind of feel like they didn't execute the way they kind of wanted to execute it. And now they're no commenting everybody. Because like he said, we did get it must have been 8-10 DMs from people talking about how, they no commented me too. So I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, once you hit the like button on this show, you become a multimillionaire. So we think you should all try that. Hit the like button now and let me know how it works out. But really the point is that I think San Diego State in all of this, it just looks small. And then I look at Tulane, and we talked about this yesterday, and there was a huge argument in the comment section about Tulane and all the Cincinnati fans that came in yesterday and got upset that I said they were the least valuable of the four properties. Why are these statements shocking, or why are these statements hurtful to you? If you're Cincinnati, do you truly believe that you are on par with BYU or Houston? In what way, shape, or form? Because when I look at the Big 12 landscape and we talk about, hey, who's more valuable and who's worth what, there is no argument to be made, especially with Luke Fickell, in Wisco for whatever stupid reason, because nothing good happens in Wisconsin. But if you lost Luke Fickell, you have not been basketball relevant. I think you are going to struggle to be football relevant, especially in the Big 12.
Yeah.
What puts you on par with BYU? Okay, well, you don't have 1 million viewers per game at a minimum.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
You haven't leveled up in competition because you've been in a crappy conference for how long?
Right.
You went to the college football playoff and got waxed.
Right.
I don't understand. What are we looking at where Cincinnati fans are like, yeah, we're better than Houston? How are you better than Houston?
Well, I think what Cincinnati fan does, and I think we see this sometimes, is like, hey, Luke Fickell was there and had a bunch of success and was clearly growing the program, and then a bigger program came in and picked him up. I mean, that's what I mean. Is that not what we've seen for how long now? I mean, you can make an argument that Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma squad was just as big as USC's. Okay, fine, if you want to make that argument. I'm telling you, nothing's bigger than Los Angeles, sunny California, right? So Lincoln Riley, in my opinion, went to a bigger program, right? You look at Deion Sanders, clearly went to a bigger program. Luke Fickell, clearly, even though Wisco has sucked, clearly went to a bigger opportunity.
Yes.
And so it's not really all that surprising, and I really don't think it should be offensive. Like if I said, hey, Jackson State is no longer good because Prime left. Well, nobody would disagree with that. Nobody would get outraged by that. But the minute you say, hey, Cincinnati is no longer what they were when Luke Fickell was there because he left, everyone's outraged and says that BYU sucks. Like, that's what we do as fans. And that's what I'm saying. You just have to take your passion out of the San Diego States or the Cincinnatis or any of these, the Tulanes, and just look at what the value is, because some of them are rising and some of them are falling. San Diego State was rising at a ridiculous rate until Buddy went out to the media and did a garbage interview that is roundly been agreed just wasn't a good interview.
Yeah.
And again, if you're saying, hey, if you think we're just hating on the guy, go look. Everyone's talking about it now. So like whether it's San Diego State, Cincinnati, even Tulane, like just because you have a case to get somewhere doesn't mean you're actually better.
But I thought the comparison, I was talking to somebody about San Diego State today, and this, what most people believe is a horrendous quote by J.D. Wicker, the athletic director, to Seth Davis at The Athletic, and a very interesting comparison was made. Mm-hmm. And that is this not Bronco Mendenhall and BYU begging to get into the Big 12? All those years ago, right before Taysom jumped over the Texas Longhorns.
Right.
This is J.D. Wicker begging to get into the Pac-12, in my opinion. And I think it's not that indifferent to where BYU was, even though BYU was an independent at that point. But I think it's very interesting, the comparison, because it's just one of these things where you don't have a way, and maybe that's strong, but I feel like San Diego State doesn't have a way to market themselves beyond, hey, look at us. And the sad thing is you just went to the NCAA tournament final. Mm-hmm. And you're waving your hands like, hey, look at us.
Y'all feel me?
Like, market Snapdragon, market the facilities, market your TV reach. Market something other than, hey, look at us, and nobody did during the NCAA tournament final.
Yeah. Because
they had a small audience. I mean, I don't know. I'm happy to have the discussion. I really am. I am all about it, especially when you consider that you have this Pac-12 TV deal just kind of twisting out there.
Yeah.
And I think San Diego State's a remarkably important market in that conversation. I really do. I think it's one of those things where when you look at where San Diego State is, I think it's incredibly important. It is, yeah. Steve High Florida says, I'm done here. Okay, well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, have a nice day, sir.
All right now. Two Masters says Tulane fighting algae water wave. Well, there's that. I think Tulane's a great fit in the Pac-12. Geographically, I tend to agree with the voices in the Pac-12 who say that anything east of Texas is too far.
Yeah.
I do tend to agree with that. And I think Rice is an awfully good get academically, but are you really taking Rice over SMU? Man, that's a tough one.
No, I don't think so.
That's a tough one, right? That's very difficult. Samuel Critchfield says, Cincy was a big name when you came in and lost to UVU, but outside of that, they are nothing to write home about. And it's not personal.
Yeah.
Like, Kenyon Martin ain't walking through that door anytime soon, right? Like, your glory days of yesteryear are gone. And you don't bring an incredibly, powerful or passionate fan base. Cincinnati is how do I say this politely? Like, are the Bearcats really drawing water in Cincinnati? I'm going to say they're not. Now, are they dead last in that market? No. But are you even near Burrowhead? You're not.
No.
Right? You're not. But I look at the state of Ohio. You're not near the top of the state of Ohio.
Burrowhead Stadium.
Right? There was somebody yesterday who was like, Cincinnati is Ohio. No, it's not. Cincinnati's
Joseph Lee Burrow.
Cincinnati's Kentucky. Let's not get that twisted, right?
Uh-huh.
I get it. I get it.
And I think there's a lot of, to your point, like I think people get really defensive really quick, especially when they are a supporter of a program that's smaller. I mean,
Yeah.
and again, it's not a personal thing. I just think when a guy like Luke Fickell, who's as skilled and as good as he is at what he does, leaves, I mean, it just doesn't put you in a strong position. I mean, again, like you know, I just look at some of these head coaches, like look at Oklahoma, man. Oklahoma has been trash since Lincoln left. I mean, and it's not even like a thing where people are like surprised. It's like, yeah, well, you know, we're bad because Lincoln left and then Caleb Williams left and all the talent left. And so what do you have? Right? Like that's the nature of the beast. It just is what it is.
Yeah, and I don't see that, you know, when you look at you look at the way that you stack conferences up, and like 20 people have sent me this most wins in the last 5 years, and Cincinnati's got the most wins in the Big 12 in the last 5 years. You really think that's an accurate assessment? You truly believe that in the Big 12, Cincinnati's been the best football team in that conference over the last 5 years because they have the most wins? Oh, wait. They've never played a Big 12 conference game as a member.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at their games against, you know, Jersey Mike's Institute of Bread Cutting, and we're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's a quality win. No, it's not.
With all due respect.
And so I you know, and you want to compare Cincinnati to BYU? BYU played a loaded independent schedule for the last decade. And Cincinnati, you think Cincinnati's got more quality wins than BYU? They don't.
It is what it is.
They don't. So, and I appreciate, like, so many people have tweeted or DM'd me that graphic.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude. And, you know, and I'm happy to put it up here. I am. Jimmy, thank you. Jimmy's World, or whatever your Twitter account is called, is the last one who sent that to me.
Yeah, but I think this is the classic example of you know, Cincinnati fan trying to lie to themselves about how good or bad their team is. You know, I mean, it's your first year in the Big 12. Like at some point, you know, you have to be like, all right, cool. You know, we just got into this conference. Yeah, sure, we've got some wins, but that's been against some subpar talent, and we're going to go up against the Baylors of the world, let's say, and they're going to be a physical-ass team that is at a minimum going to push us around and is going to be, you know, laying the wood in the A-gap, and it's just like, dude, like you start to understand why, you know, saying, hey, Cincinnati, most wins in the Big 12 is a little inaccurate, you know? Like you just get it.
Yeah, I struggle with that graphic right there. Like you look at the Big 12, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, that's legit. UCF.
Not legit.
BYU.
Not
Not on a Big 12 level. So you're telling me it's Oklahoma, Okie State, Baylor, Texas, TCU. Like that's what feels right.
Yeah, and if you want to have a conversation about like, hey, is TCU like, yeah, sure, TCU doesn't have as many wins, but are they better than this program or that program right now? Okay, we could have that.
TCU's the best team in the Big 12 right now, I think.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think that's even tough to argue with. But you look at the Pac-12, yeah, that's legit. Look how low USC is at 33, right? Utah, 43. I think Utah's been easily one of the top two programs in that league. Alabama has been the top team in the SEC. Ohio State and Michigan, and then everybody else, right? You look at the already crowned Clemson Conference, well, there's no doubt that they have 19 more wins than everybody else. That's not surprising. Show me the basketball wins, right? But my point is, you look at the argument, oh, Cincinnati has the most wins in the Big 12.
Come on.
That's not an argument.
Come on.
Like, if we're just being honest and, you know, having a real conversation about it, that's not an argument.
But we're not, because fans don't want to be honest about it. Which is
Connor Cole gives us $5 to say, here in Cincinnati, we have Skyline Chili, which that alone puts us at the top of the Catsby 90. Cats by 9. Okay. Hey, look, dude, I understand that with Skyline Chili, You guys all have turbocharged buttholes. Listen, I totally get it. There is nothing. Beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot. Skyline chili for every meal. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah, we get it.
But come on, Connor. Jake Nelson would love to have Boise in the Big 12. No, I'm good. Why would you put them in the Big 12?
You wouldn't.
What's the win there? Truck Stop Gumby. 2 Connors in the chat. Yeah, it's kind of confusing. Greg Romano says, I live in Boise, a great fan base, but they have trouble filling a 35,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, I love Boise, dude. I love road, like from Salt Lake to Boise. It's a quick little road tripper, man. I love that town, but you're not a Big 12 program. You're just not.
Yeah. Let's see. Jacob DeLambo. But it's must school program. Show some respect. Okay, I probably need to go higher then. Program. Rice to the Mac Casserole Conference. There you go, Callahan.
Casserole Conference.
Now we're cooking with gas. Connor Johnson. Like Apple, yes, Apple is getting the pack. Scott, back the pack. We'll see.
Back the pack.
Brohead Stadium. Jake Nelson says close to West Virginia.
Burrowhead Stadium.
Okay. Bob Holsey says Cincinnati makes West Virginia feel less lonely.
Damn,
wow.
bro.
Patrick Boren, give Cincy a chance. Still don't know what the new coach is. Listen, everybody needs a win. I mean, there's a place for. I'm kidding. I'm not saying Cincinnati is going to be the worst team in the league. That's Oklahoma State every year. Dude, it was a joke. I was kidding. We all know it's no. I'm not doing it. OU is only 1 year. What do you mean? OU is only 1 year. Jeremy Callahan says, I already read that one. I'm a terrible person. Forgive me. Warren Boyd, 23-24 Big 12. We'll see what brands will rise to the top. That's exactly right.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Chick-fil-A as good as mac and cheese. Chick-fil-A's trash.
Dude, Chick-fil-A does not have good mac and cheese, dude.
So
Stop,
overrated.
bro.
So overrated.
Dude, if you think their mac and cheese is good, you're probably a Cincinnati fan.
Skyline Chili.
Come on.
Archer Quick says, OU fans think they're good since Lincoln Riley left. Well, here we go. USC fanning, cracking OU fan. Nothing better than that on the Monty program. Damn liberals.
Those damn libtards.
I do love that SC fan is cracking Oklahoma fan. Hey, Lincoln looks better over here.
Fight on.
Spangler, can't call Oklahoma trash just yet, but we can always hope. Well, they better win something. Jacob DS50, Monty Show, please answer. I'd love your guys' opinion. I don't know.
Okay, what are we answering?
DeLambo. No, Jacob says, will Boise State be in a P5 conference between 20? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't.
The problem is that they're like 10th on the rung, dude. Like,
I have no idea.
You got to let all these other teams pan out, and you got to figure out if the pack's even going to exist. Like, there's just too much in the air. Yeah, man.
How do you even guess at that?
Why is that? I understand if you're a Boise State fan, but that's just not really a relevant question in this conversation overall in the big picture. Like, I think Boise State needs to continue on. I do believe that they need to finish their renovations and put all that money into your facilities, and then you got to go out and recruit your ass off. Boise State's one of those programs that can get some talent by leveraging NIL.
I agree with that.
And if you know how to leverage NIL as a smaller program, you can go out and get some guys. Now, I'm not saying you're getting, Heisman winner caliber dude.
But you don't need that.
Yeah.
You don't, at a smaller school,
yeah.
Boise, San Diego, pick your smaller school. You don't need Caleb Williams. You'd love to get him.
Yeah.
But you don't need that. You need to be able to win all of your home games. That's what you need. And then you need to be able to go win 1 or 2 road games. If Boise won 8 games a year, nobody would say anything probably, because you're accidentally going to trip and fall into 10-win seasons, right? If you just won 8 games a year and went to a good bowl, and BYU's made a living on that for a decade. Win 8 to 10 games, go to a nice bowl, and we'll see in spring ball.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good living. Your fan base is satiated, right? You can recruit on that.
Yeah.
You don't, I think everybody, a lot of people talk about that. Oh man, well, if we just had 1 year and we could get the Heisman Trophy winner, and that jerk off Lincoln Riley stole our guy Caleb.
You're a douche.
Like, okay, so you're OU, go find another one. That was a big thing in the comment section last week. Well, if Lincoln Riley hadn't stolen Caleb Williams, but guess what he did? And he didn't have to steal him. Caleb went willingly.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, Lincoln Riley didn't put, have a gun and a mask on and go kidnap Caleb Williams in his fingernail polish collection. Right? Like Caleb went on his own. My point is, you don't have to have the best player in the country. You don't have to have a Heisman Trophy winner. You just need to win games.
Yes.
And it's Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not done that. Do you realize the only reason BYU's in the Big 12 is not because of their TV audience? It's because they won the Pac-12 2 years in a row. BYU did.
Cincinnati.
Right? How many Pac-12 teams did they beat in that stretch?
Yeah.
So I just feel like we all get enamored with this idea that we got to have a Heisman Trophy. We got to have a 75,000 seat stadium. Hey, just curious. You want to add all those seats to your football stadium? What happens when they're empty on Saturdays? Give me 40,000 seats that are packed and ticket prices are sky high. You keep your 75,000. Go ahead, UCLA in the Rose Bowl. We have these delusions of grandeur that we have to unload. We have to unpack them in college athletics.
Yeah.
You don't need Heisman Trophy winners, and you don't need 70,000 seat stadiums. You're not Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You're not a tourist attraction. I know, again, Skyline Chili and shit.
Right.
And Barry Larkin's the best shortstop that nobody's ever heard of. They're not coming to watch Cincinnati Bearcat football. They're not. Okay, was that the rant of the day?
We're on to Cincinnati.
I think it might have been. Brad M. says, your mark should tell SD we were interested, but we're going to explore other options after you opened your mouth. Well, funny thing is, here on the Monty Show, as we've reported repeatedly, San Diego State has spoken at length with the Big 12 and told the Big 12, hey, look, we feel like we're in a much better fit in the Pac-12. We're going to wait for this TV situation to play out. And I think there's a lot of people in that situation where they're waiting for the Pac-12 TV situation to play out. Sources very close to the situation told us San Diego State and Big 12 are fast friends. They know each other well. They've talked extensively. It's just it's not no, but it's not yes right now.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And I think you see what J.D. Wicker at San Diego State said. I feel like this was he's on one knee. He's got a ring in his hand, and he's proposing to the Pac-12. That's what this feels like from San Diego State. It's low cash. It's Bush League. It's desperate. But that is what it is at this point. Because, again, I think the thing that's so baffling about this J.D. Wicker decision to comment like this, where else is the Pac-12 going to go? Where else are they going to go? If I'm J.D. Wicker, I am openly talking to the Big 12. I am commenting about the Big 12. I am being photographed with Brett Yormark.
Yeah.
I am touring basketball facilities in Monterrey, Mexico, and Mexico City. I'm not pandering to Seth Davis in the Pac-12. I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Because everybody raves about J.D. Wicker, and I have no idea what you're raving about because I think this was a huge mistake. Not to belabor the point. I'm not going back in on it. Maybe I need an enema. I don't know. But my point is, JD, I have no idea what you were doing there.
Yeah, nothing good. And I think, this whole strategy, because I got to think that he didn't just do this on a whim, right? We know we know that they set up the interview with The Athletic. We know that they were all about it. And that's kind of what makes me wonder. And I think, in all this conversation about BYU and, all these other, little spinoffs on this TV deal conversation, at least people have a strategy. You can tell George Kliavkoff, however dumb he is, has a strategy to try and get done what he needs to get done to keep the conference together. And I understand that. I disagree with it, but I understand it. And the thing that I struggle with Wicker is I don't understand the strategy. So wait, let me get this right. The whole deal was, hey, we told the Big 12, no, we're not interested. We're not going.
No.
It's just not happening. And then you want to come out and do this interview and say, well, one way or the other, we're getting into a P5, basically. That's essentially what you said. One way or the other, we're getting into the Pac or the Big 12. And I just think about that, and I say, well, wait a minute. You're the one that's supposed to be desirable. You're the one that these conferences are supposed to be going after. So to my guy's point here, why would you not go and be seen with the Big 12, let's say, or go and be seen at these, at least at a minimum, at these different hot locations, right? Like Rucker Park or the Big 12 Combine or whatever.
I would be photographed with Brett Yormark like I was pounding box. Like
yeah, dude.
And all. Like
Please.
I would be, Brett, you're my girl. Let's snuggle up at a table at dinner, like on the window, like right next to, like it's you and me, right? Like it's JD Wicker and Brett Yormark.
Let's snuggle up right at the window and look at the truck stop outside.
It's JD Yormark and Brett Yormark. The Yormarks are having dinner in Mexico
Wicker,
City.
Brett Wicker and JD Yormark.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand it at all. And you know what? And I think what's on the menu. What's on the menu at dinner for those two guys?
Oh, well, they're at a foo-fooey place. You know that.
No, they're at an American place that serves bucked up energy.
There you go.
Try to follow me.
My bad. Sorry, dude.
For like 10 seconds.
Sorry, my bad.
One show, maybe you could follow me, right? I mean, because you know the same that I know that bucked up energy is the official energy drink of the Monty program.
Facts.
And here on the showgram, all we drink is bucked up energy. All we have all day long.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Water in the bucked up energy canteen.
Water
ice in the bucked up energy canteen. But I want to talk to you guys about Buckshot because I have gotten so much feedback about how awesome Buckshot is. You guys, if you have not tried Buckshot, and I know that we're all looking for pick-me-ups. If you're in California right now, hello to everybody listening in California. It's 2:30 and you are dragging ass. You have 3 hours to go because you're in the liberal state. 3 hours to get home, right? Pop a Buckshot and you're going to feel clean, long-lasting energy. You're not going to be tired anymore. You're not going to be having the carb crash from lunch when you had pizza and crappy wings. Get over that, man. Get some clean, long-lasting energy with Buckshot in the description below. Right on this show, if you're listening on podcast, hello everybody on Spotify. Our biggest month ever on Spotify, the month of April.
For real.
Let's go, Spotify. Thank you for listening on Spotify. In the podcast description and right here on YouTube, in the description below, click the link. Free Buckshot samples. They don't give you 2 or 3, they give you 6. I went to Cincinnati. There's 6.
Yes.
Buckshot samples of your choice. So send them right to your front door for free at buckedup.com. And by the way, had my collagen peptides from Bucked Up today. I cannot say enough about the quality products that you get at buckedup.com. Don't take my word for it. Use the promo code Monty to get 20% off your purchase. I take greens. They're organic greens. I take their collagen peptides. I use their LFG. My wife sent me a text today saying that the LFG was awesome. She had a 45-minute run this morning, took the LFG pre-workout, powered right through it because everything at Bucked Up works. Buckedup.com, the official energy drink of the Monty Show, is Bucked Up. 35 minutes in and I feel great.
Yeah.
By the way, again, it is hot in the studio. I want to apologize to Jake. I forgot the fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely unacceptable, dude. It's totally unacceptable.
It is totally unacceptable. Bob Holsey, hello. Bob Holsey says, Larry, I'm not arguing Apple is a contender. I think this is another hot button topic on this show. And I think Larry Pilgrim, if I remember right, Larry, I apologize that I lost your comment above. But Larry's been arguing about the money or making a case for the money that Apple is paying. Here it is. Apple pays $400 million a year, gives minimum 1 game a week. Who's paying $400 million a year for football and basketball?
I'm not.
You're going to pay the Pac-12, who has 1 blue blood basketball team. 1. You're going to pay them $400 million. And, oh, by the way, you still, if it's Apple, and I would remind you, and again, I know everybody else has picked up on the story now, but you're goddamn right I'm going to raise my tail feather. We told you that Arizona State, Washington, and Colorado have said no to Apple TV as a sole distribution partner.
Right.
That they are not on board with streaming as the main tier 1 distribution platform. I more think, Larry, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Hey, dude, knock yourself out. I hope you're right. $400 million would be amazing.
No.
I think the more likely deal is between Amazon and ESPN. I think it's a $20 million deal. And I think that ESPN will put 2 games a week on, including tier 1. And then Amazon will go to Friday night game of the week. And I think you're going to have 3 games a week on broadcast. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And that message has been consistent from our sources for weeks and months and months.
Yeah.
And the real issue is that we've been told repeatedly, and I've said this on the show, this is not new, but we've been told repeatedly, if it's not 25 million or more, they're going to lose schools. That if they don't get 25 million or more, they're going to lose schools. And I think that's what's terrifying to you. Because you just cannot, you can't risk it. I just hope everybody understands, and I know everybody will get pissed I say it, but there's not a school in the Pac-12 that wants to leave.
Yeah, they don't want to leave, but
I think they will.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody wants to leave. I really don't.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Bryce Martin. Good to see you, Bryce. Boise doesn't have the academics to join the Pac-12 or the fan base to get to the Big 12. Totally agree. Roger Sales, my guy. How are you, Roger?
Roger,
good to see you, friend.
Dodger.
Seems like San Diego State interview was just a shot across the Pac-12 bow, and the interviewer was in on to no ask follow-up. Seems strategic. Well, what I would say is this was snuck into a greater article about San Diego State raising their valuation through Snapdragon Stadium and facilities and basketball and
the usual suspects.
And then you had this 3-line quote from J.D. Wicker about we're going one way or the other. And that's why that this was just, hey, well, let's just roll this out there. There's nothing to see here. We're just going to put this out here. Hey, by the way, I saw that quote you guys put in The Athletic. I have a couple of follow-up questions. No comment. Hey, well, you commented already. I was just asking. No comment. Here from and we're not commenting on realignment at this time because they don't want to ask. They don't want to be asked follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
That's as simple as it is. Stutterers. Boise State. How did Boise State become such a big topic today? Needs to lower ticket prices if they want to fill their seats each game. Well, they're not going to do that because they're putting millions and millions into renovations.
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough. Charles Chamberlain, better question. Will there be 5 power conferences or only 4 power conferences by 2030? Most likely only 4. See, and I agree with that. Charles, I think you're looking, and here's the bigger question. I think it's not the Pac-12 that I think you should be concerned about. What's going to happen with the ACC? Because that's a revenue stream waiting to happen.
Yep.
They're in a 78-year grant of rights right now. And I think they're on year 6.
Yeah.
It feels like forever. It's $500 million. Well, and it's $500 million to get out. But if you look at this chart that we put up earlier.
Yeah, the chart.
Flow chart. You look at this chart right here. Ask yourself this question. Who in the ACC who is truly valuable? Well, hold on. Before you do that, is the ACC a football or a basketball conference? This is a basketball conference. So now all of a sudden, if you say to yourself, well, if it's basketball we're talking about, well, yeah, Wake Forest, North Carolina State, Miami, no doubt. Carolina, Virginia, yeah.
Yeah.
Florida State, you start looking up and down, Pitt, yes. Virginia Tech, yes. Clemson,
No.
not really. But what if, now let's get crazy here.
Careful,
What
hands at 10 and 2.
What if we take this second to last column in Pac-12 and we move Clemson and Florida State to the SEC and we combine Washington State, ASU, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford into the ACC. Because I think that's your best shot right there. I think that is your best shot. I don't see any other way with the Big 10, Big 12, because as far as hierarchy of conferences go, in football and basketball, it's totally different.
Yeah.
In football, I have no doubt that it is the SEC number 1, the Big 12 number 2, the Big 10 number 3, the Pac-12 number 4, and the ACC is dead last in football, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You come on and we talk about basketball. Well, now we're cooking with gas because I think it's not close. It's the Big 12, 1. I think it's the ACC number 2. I think it's the SEC number 3, the Big 10 number 4, and I think it's the Pac-12 bringing up the rear at number 5.
Yeah.
So, but you combine those two, and all of a sudden, I think you could make an argument, especially if Arizona's in the conversation. I think you could make an argument that just perhaps, and I could be wrong, but just perhaps, maybe a Pac-12 ACC merger makes that conference the best conference in the country. Dilly. Now, I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I could be wrong.
Careful, you're going to piss off Cincinnati fan.
I know, something terrible. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of different ways to view the future of college athletics.
And we never said that was gonna happen. We never said.
I just think we're spitballing here when we talk about what's the future of these conferences, because I don't think any of us know.
Yeah,
I don't think any of us know. I think that ultimately, if what I think will happen, I think Gonzaga joins the Big 12. I think San Diego State joins the Pac-12. And I think this deal comes in about $22 million for the Pac-12, and I think they're going to lose 4 schools.
There you go. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think
that's what I think happens.
I think that, on the list of people who don't know would be J.D. Wicker as well. And I think that there are a lot of presidents out there who don't know what's going to happen. And I think that falls right squarely on George Kliavkoff's shoulders.
Yeah, and I think I've heard that overwhelmingly. And we've talked about this repeatedly about Gonzaga. I think we had the story first that Gonzaga has a verbal commitment. You can join the conference. It's simply a matter of starting the process.
I like
join
Gonzaga.
the conference. I think everybody's waiting for this PAC deal to come through, because for the Big 12, you just need the PAC deal to come through. Okay, then you're going to add Gonzaga. And I think, truthfully, they covet Gonzaga and Arizona.
Gonzaga.
Based on the conversations that I've had with people in the Big 12, TV industry people, the Big 12 has talked a lot about Gonzaga and a lot about Arizona. And I think it's just simply a matter of time.
Yep.
And I think all the rumor mongering only makes things worse in the Pac-12. I think J.D. Wicker throwing gas on the fire yesterday was really stupid.
Well, and I think people don't know what to do with silence. It's kind of funny. Like it's. You would think it's easy to not say anything. You would think it'd be easy to show up to your office every day and just do whatever you do.
And I think that's why we don't do like the rumor mill thing here. If we don't have it confirmed multiple ways, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, again, and I don't mind saying it, I have no problem standing on our track record of wrong versus right. Go figure it out. It's on the channel forever.
Yeah.
David Sebesta, Boise State can't sell out their own stadium. They struggle. It's exactly right. Spangler, be the best you can be.
Well, thanks, Spangler.
Join the Army. Connor Johnson, everybody gonna need to downsize their stadium for real. Dude, you're only half joking. Here's the problem. I am telling you that the days of big money TV are over. They're over.
Yeah.
I think this Big 10 deal is the last mega TV deal you're going to see. Because my opinion is that you're going to now have to create revenue streams. And everybody's going to be like, all right, truck stop conference blowjob, here it comes. You're going to have to do what Brett Yormark's doing.
I like Gonzaga.
Why, when you know that Brett Yormark is in Mexico making deals, why wouldn't one of your Texans be one of the first teams to play there?
Yeah.
And Houston specifically. Why wouldn't they? I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. It is exactly the right move.
Yeah.
And if you can play games in Mexico City and Monterrey, Mexico, dude, home run, revenue stream. Rucker Park, revenue stream. Kansas City, revenue stream. Like these scheduling and these events, and if you believe, the tea leaves, and we've been hearing about major preseason, game scheduling in football and basketball, revenue stream. Made for TV games where you can go to Amazon Prime Video and say, hey, look, we're going to put, and you pick your teams. We're going to put Alabama and TCU, at Jerry World, and we're going to have a game, and we want to put it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Here's $100 million or whatever the number would be. Here's $10 million.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Revenue stream. Hey, by the way, we're also going to have our conference-wide pro day at Jerry World. Revenue stream. What is that revenue stream in the Pac-12? What's that revenue stream in the ACC? They're all trying to figure out how to get out of the ACC.
Yeah, and I feel like these revenue streams just aren't that complicated. I mean, I love talking about what Brett Yormark's done, but I have to say, I don't think he's reinventing the wheel here. I think he's just been the first one that's gotten real aggressive with it and played offense instead of playing defense. And I think that's been kind of the difference. And yeah, I agree. If the SEC or the Big Ten, specifically in football, wanted to go out and do this stuff, I think they could do it at a really high level. I really believe that, but they're just not doing that. And that's why I think the Big Ten getting such a fresh commissioner in there,
wow.
Having that momentum, it'll be really interesting to see what Petiti does with the conference and what they decide to do as far as revenue streams. Because I agree. I think streaming is just being pushed so much that you're not able to ignore it anymore. And I'm certainly not sitting here saying that streaming is taking over linear TV, because I don't think that's the case at the conference level at all. I think these conference leaders are older folks who know TV and are comfortable with it and don't know streaming and aren't comfortable with it. So they're going to keep doing TV until they have to do streaming.
Because why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't you, right? But my point is that at some point, the Brett Yormarks of the world, people in general who are playing offense and getting creative, they're going to do something eventually.
Offense.
Yeah, like they're going to do something eventually. Like they're going to take their shot down the seam, and eventually that's going to be a completion for a touchdown. And then all of a sudden, everyone's going to get on board and they're like, "Oh wow, man, why didn't we think of that?" And it's like a $400 million deal with YouTube TV or something.
No, I mean, it would be like opening up the best barbecue equipment store like Barbecue Pit Stop did. Like, why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we think?
I mean, we're just,
BBQPitstop.com. Logan, Layton, Lehigh, Payson, St. George, and Murray. Barbecue Pit Stop, you hear that name, it's the best barbecue equipment in the business. Traeger, Yoder, Big Green Egg, Camp Chef. You name the equipment, they've got it. Barbecue Pit Stop. Best rubs, sauces, spices, seasonings. Barbecue Pit Stop. Best accoutrements. You need things like tongs.
Hey,
do you
need
need a wing rack? Do you need a pizza stone? You need spatulas, knives.
Can you measure it?
Thermometers, digital thermometers. BarbecuePitstop.com. You need really select cuts of meat. BarbecuePitstop.com. They've got it all, friends. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Shop local, support small business. BBQPitstop.com is the way to go. I think it is really interesting how many people bring up the different revenue streams, like I lost it now, but the Bathing Ape, the Bape partnership. Somebody commented on that. Totally agree. Like they have a full clothing line. That is in my opinion is really smart. It's really well done. It's in the mainstream, right? You have the event in Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah.
Where you had Shaq come in and DJ, and they're doing hip hop and R&B sets and food and parties and dancing and concerts, and then they're playing basketball games.
Yeah.
Like it makes a lot of sense to me. Two Masters says, "Come on, Tony A, going to be too busy flipping through 20,000 graphs to have a coherent argument." I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means, but that's fine. Mark Ruckert, 99% fact. Pac-10 teams want to stay together. 98% fact. Most likely Pac-10 loses 4 to 6 teams. And when I say that,
yeah,
it's because I truly don't believe that any Pac-12 president or university is like, man, I cannot wait to get out of this conference.
Well, think about it. I mean, they're like this group
Holy
of friends
cow.
that plays in the same sandbox, dude.
I cannot wait to dump this joint. Like, there's not a Pac-12 president saying that.
Yeah.
I think with the research money, I think with this is the Rice versus Houston argument.
Yes.
Like, this is all of that.
Yes.
The money that is in this conference, you can throw away the athletic budgets and they won't even miss that money because there's so much money to be thrown around. Obviously we know intimately well the money that's being made at, for instance, at Stanford.
Yeah.
Right? I used to work in the Bay Area. KMBR 680.
Dude, you want to talk about printing?
Oh my God! You look at the money that Cal's making. You look at the money that Utah makes on medicine, cancer, Huntsman, like UHealth, like the money that's being made at these universities. Sports just doesn't matter. Do you understand the money that's being made in Boulder? Like that's why like the Deion hire was no big deal. Oh, we were 1-11 last year. Yeah, get Deion Sanders. We can afford it.
Ain't ducking no smoke.
I mean, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
dude,
it doesn't matter, dude.
It just doesn't matter. Bob Holsey, the PAC had even a $300 million offer. The discussion would be over. Canzano and Wilner will spend it like $350 million. If you just got, and I'm just talking raw TV money. I'm not talking tournament money, college football playoff money, which, well, you haven't had that. But I'm just talking like, how much are you getting from your distribution deal? I think they're going to wind up at $22 million.
Yeah, and the thing is it's
That's
not
where
good
it's
enough.
at, I think.
Dude, it's not good enough to be at 31.5 or whatever after the tournament and after all the extra incentive money that you get for success in sports. So that's not the conversation.
No.
We're talking about being at 31. I think that was a 31.7 is the exact number. Like being at 31.7 just on raw TV deal money. And I think people, tend to forget that. I think people do two things in this conversation. One, when they're having the realignment conversation, they think that there's literally going to be a flatbed pickup that moves the whole institution across the country, and that's not happening. They're all going to be here. It's just painting the field a different color, man. And
Totally.
and I look at that and I say, okay, in addition to that, you think that somehow the Big 12 is just going to bring in anybody, right? Like you notice how targeted and how strategic the institutions they brought in were. Like
Yes.
it wasn't some accident that
They
they
added
wanted.
Skyline Chili to the conference.
I know, dude. They wanted to fart for days, and now they've got it.
They're
right?
trying to get that fiber.
Yeah, dude.
Right? Like,
no polyps, bro.
Hey. What's up, Hey? I have no idea if that's your name. Hey. Did San Diego State truly hurt itself joining in conference by saying both the Pac and the Big 12 want us and we'll end up at one of them? Yeah, I don't think hurt is not the word that I would use. Surprised? Yes. I think everybody I've talked to about that quote, and now I've talked to a lot of people about it, everybody I've talked to about that quote was like, yeah, I'm not sure what he was thinking there.
Jackass.
Because all J.D. Wicker, the athletic director at San Diego State, had to do was nothing. Nothing. Just enjoy Old Town, go watch sunset up at La Jolla, then go down to Old Town, Los Coyotes Cafe, get yourself some enchilada suiza, chips and salsa, peach margarita, frozen, no sugar on the rim, a little bit of lime though, and just chill. Enjoy your Berkeys and the tan line you get from wearing them, right? That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. But no, you had to insert yourself into the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would he do that? And it makes people wonder if he is either not talking to or at an impasse with one of these two commissioners. That's what it makes you feel like. So the answer is, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
I'd love to understand what he was thinking doing that, but they're no commenting everybody.
Well, and sometimes they weren't even thinking. He just said something. Maybe he didn't even mean to say it. I don't know.
But by the way, J.D. Wicker, thank you for looking at my LinkedIn profile. I appreciated that. That was funny as hell.
Yeah, it was.
He looked at my LinkedIn profile.
Hey, listen, I mean, look, I think that.
Hey, you're just the hacks on YouTube.
Look,
Fuck off. Nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
That's it, Skippy.
That's cool. You Google research the best, enchilada suiza. Anyway, my point is, J.D. Wicker looked at my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, you know how it tells you on LinkedIn, Jimmy the douchebag looked at your LinkedIn profile.
I just think it's funny.
Literally says J.D. Wicker.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't know.
Casual.
We'll see. I think all of this is hyperbole until something happens.
Yeah.
And I can sit here and tell you what my sources told me.
Sources.
Skyline chili's awfully high in cholesterol. I just think that guys like JD Wicker should sit in silence. That's just me. Go Tigers. Well, Monty, there is heavy smoke out of ACC country that Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina. Lawyers are ready to challenge the grant of rights in a friendly court jurisdiction. Well, knock yourself out, kid. You signed a contract. Signed a contract. Ryan Fair, does the Big 12 want Nova in UConn, or is that just online gossip? I think everybody wants UConn.
Yeah.
And I think UConn wants a Big 10.
Not Nova. Creighton. Creighton
makes a lot more sense. Villanova's a hell of a brand. I don't think anybody doubts that. But Creighton is somebody that they have absolutely been looking at.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of crazy that everybody, you just have to wait this thing out. You have to wait this thing out. And honestly, I don't even say this tongue in cheek. As seriously as I can say it, the best way to pass time is eating a Taco Grande pizza.
Hi, I'm Kylie, and I make fresh, delicious Papa Murphy's pizza.
Hi, I'm Zach, and I make the Papa Murphy's pizza.
Sure, that's take and bake. We built it with the freshest ingredients. You bake it fresh in your oven.
By you mean me, so technically, I make the pizza.
Super good pizza, Kylie.
Oh, Kylie, so good.
Right now, enjoy big-time taco flavors on a pizza with the limited-time Taco Grande. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza.